So I'm gonna do this. So I'm recording right now. Okay, so this is week 9 for the spring semester, CAD for construction, and today's date is March 30th. So we're going to go ahead and jump into this. And what we want to do is we're going to start to change gears a little bit. Then we're going to move over into Revit. Now, Revit, some of you have worked with, some of you have not. But essentially what it is, this course is CAD for construction. And the next step up from AutoCAD, step up from AutoCAD, the next advancement is actually Revit. And Revit is a building information modeler that lets you actually create 3D models that actually have intelligence. That's essentially what a BIM model is, and that's what Revit does. So let me just give you a quick idea as far as the kind of thing you can do here, just to kind of give you a little bit of a taste for what we're going to be doing here. My wife and I were actually going to be, we're putting in a new bathroom. So what I did here is I just kind of like put some things together here to kind of like show her what's going to be. It's a master bathroom. It's not really all that large, but right here, can you guys see that right there?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a rendering I did using Enscape. Okay, so what we have right there, that's what that is. And so what this is right here is this is just kind of, it's a small bathroom. Now we're going to be busting out the small, we're actually going to be enlarging the space for, we're going to make a standard shower right now. So that's one shot right there. And let's see here. I've got a few of these. Let me see if I can't get to the next one here. So I've got that. Let me see here because I've got a few of these. Let's see, going here. Is there a way to kind of advance these? No. Oh, there we go. So we go. Okay. So there we got another one right there. There's no, now now the difference between these two, I've got this, I've actually got subway tile in the shower and I'm kind of looking through the wall here. And then on this one right here, I've actually got a wood door there. Well, the wood's actually not wood. The door is actually not wood. It's actually painted white like this. So you've got this going on and this is what these look like right here with different kinds of ideas right here. So here's another one. What I wanted to do is my wife and I were talking about what kind of vanity. So I went ahead and made like a wood, basically a wood finished vanity right there. So I showed what that would look like. And then we went over here and if you'll let me do this, let's go this way. Okay, go back this way. Okay, here's another one. So between these, so I got this one with a white vanity and over here, I've got a gray vanity. Okay, I've also, you'll notice that that you've actually got the fixtures on the shower are black here and here they're chrome. And you also can see the gray vanity. So you got these right here. This is black. So as you go through these, you can just kind of like figure out which you like better as you go through these. And so you go through these and you can kind of like just, this is the kind of thing you go to a customer and just kind of say, okay, what do you think you like better? And this is actually the other view, taking a look at the shower. Looking at the shower right there, you've got that. This actually has the hex tile and the white door. And you have like the subway. So this is kind of a classic subway tile bathroom that we're going to be putting in. Just to have something, just a shower. So we're going to be doing that right there. So these are all some just basic things. These are renderings that I did. I created these and I used an add-in called Enscape to actually make these work. So anyway, showing you these, does this actually, any comments about this? Is this of any interest you guys? You guys see this coming and say, wow, that's kind of cool. Any comments about it all?
I think it's really handy.
Okay, all right. This is actually a very useful thing. Now check out the level of accuracy here. You see this gray vanity. Look at the toilet now. When I go to the next view over here, you can see that the reflection is different on the toilet there. It's just kind of cool. The difference even in the light tones right here. So it's very cool how you can actually work with these things and get different looks and effects and so forth. So anyway, that is kind of the end effect of what you can do with Revit. You can't really touch this with AutoCAD. Looks like a photograph, but it's actually a rendering. I did this thing in Revit, and so that's the kind of thing you can get to. So we won't get, well, actually, you won't be able to produce renderings like this at the end of this class right here. But you know, we're not, the main thing, this is not a rendering class. This is just kind of like a class where we're just going to be showing the basics as far as how to use it. So we've got that. So that's what we have there. And then going back over to here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to our Blackboard. And when I go to Blackboard here, I've got this. Okay, so on our Blackboard, I'm going to go to week Revit intro, which is right here. This is week 9. So week 9 looks like this. So what we're going to be doing right now is we're going to be doing an introduction to Revit. I'm going to be showing you some basics. And I'm going to change gears just a little bit. I'm going to go back and I'm going to talk a little bit about how construction works. And I'm going to keep it basic, but I'm going to be giving you the story about how I built a house back in Michigan, in Detroit. It's actually outside Detroit, but it's only 5 miles outside Detroit, so it's pretty much Detroit. And So I'm going to show you that. I'm going to show you how that process works. And the reason why I'm going to be showing you this is because as you're beginning to use these different skills and begin to work with Revit right now, one of the things that's going to be helpful is for you to have a good idea as far as like what the different steps are and what goes into creating a house. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at that right there. So that is what we will work on. Let me make sure no one else is trying to get into class right now, because a lot of times I have people who show up late and then they are trying to get in and, you know, I don't see them. So I think we're okay. I don't see anybody else looking to get in. So we'll just continue. Okay, over here, no one's waiting. Okay, good. All right, so over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a little bit of a thing here where I'm actually going to be talking about how how these different things work right here. I'm going to be opening up this right here. So first of all, I'm going to open this up. And this right here is a picture of the house that I built in Michigan. Okay, so that's a picture right there. Looks like there's a little bit of a spot on the garage door. But anyway,
Excuse me.
Yeah.
I just want to let you know that I turned in my drawing.
Okay, very good, very good. It is noted. Thank you. And so we have this right here. Now, taking a look at this right here, this is the final version of the house once we made it. I think I actually put this together. I took this, I think, after we'd been in for like maybe a year or something. So when we first moved in, there was no lawn. It was, you know, it was kind of rough, you know, so that's what we have right there. So this is a basic, it's going to be a very basic house. We're actually going to be drawing this house in the, as our final project. We're going to be doing that. So this is what we're going to be working on. So having this right here, let me just kind of talk a little bit about this. This is just like a two-story house. And this is a house that we built in 1993. So we built it in 1993. I had started using AutoCAD in 1990. And I actually started to do design plans for this in 1991 or 92. So I started to do this in 92. I got it finished. And then at that point, we went ahead and drew it. So I didn't have a lot of AutoCAD experience, but I had enough to get some basics in there. And so we did that. So this is a basic house right here. So that being the case, the first thing you got to do when you are going to build a house is, first of all, you have to do this. You have to find a lot. Okay, so this is a lot right here. Now, this is a lot that is actually in again, Metro Detroit, and it was a pretty busy street. You see a car driving by right there. And this was in fall. Actually, the date right here was October 11th of 1992. So we actually had the kids all over at the house. That's actually my two nephews and my daughter there. And it was a really nice area. We found this lot. We staked it all out and we bought it. And back then, the lot was actually quite expensive, but it was hard to find property back then. And so that lot right there, it was a 100-foot by about 100-foot by 100-foot lot. That's about the size that it was. It was $20,000. This was in 1992. So that was 30 years ago. 30 years ago, that was $20,000. It would probably at least twice that today, maybe more. And that's just to get the lot. That's with nothing on it. That's just like just grass. That's all you have. Okay. But that's for a pretty small lot, but it was in a good neighborhood and we saw this made sense. So we went ahead and bought that. And my friend Bernie Schwartzendruber, who is actually from Iowa, he's an Iowa farm boy. He said, hey, Tom, he did construction, he built his house and he wanted to make a spec house. So we talked about it and we made the numbers work, and he wasn't going to make a killing, but he was not going to lose anything. So we got into this right here. And he said he could build the house in 3 months. Okay. Anyway, we'll see if he did or not. So going down here, that's the first one. Now that being the case, we've got that. And then what you got here is the first thing we did here. Let's see here. Got the excavation. Is that right? Yeah. What do I got here? Okay, that's what this is going to look like. Okay, that is a permanent wood foundation. That is actually what we put in. What's missing from the basement walls here, as far as you can tell? What do you not see on those basement walls?
Insulation.
You don't see insulation. You also don't see concrete. There is no concrete. There's no block. That is actually all that is in a permanent wood foundation. It's actually treated lumber, so it's waterproof. They call that pressure treated. Basically, you have that in place and you put it under surface, and basically you then put on a pressure treated, or basically what they would call womanized. There's a few different names for it, but essentially it's treated so that the wood will not rot and the wood will not leak. And we basically put that in. So that is all that is between your basement and the dirt outside. They put one thin layer of visqueen. That's just a vapor barrier though. The wood keeps everything out. So you have that right there, and that's what's in the basement. That's the first thing that we did. Okay, but anyway, over here, what we did then is this is what it looked like. Okay, when we started to dig, this is November 11th. This is actually 1 month to the day after that last shot. We got everything done. We got it purchased. We got the paperwork in place. We got the survey in place. Then we started, and boom, there was digging. So we dug out. We had the hole dug out, which you see right here. Now, what you got here is a lot of fill. Now, a lot of you are taking civil technologies with Professor Holly. So you may be recognizing this right here. They do soil analysis and things of that nature to do this kind of thing. What you're seeing right here, though, is you're seeing essentially there's soil that was taken out, and you're seeing that there's several different kinds of fill here. You're seeing fill, several different piles, and those different kind of piles of fill represent clay, they represent topsoil, they represent different items that will actually go back into the hole. Also, you're seeing over here, can you guys see my cursor right here?
Yep.
Okay, so over here, right here, what you got is a pile of gravel right there, which we're using right there. So the yard got pretty soupy, okay? It was raining, we had all that, that's pretty common. So this is what we did, we dug it all out, and then we had a hole in the ground. So what we did is once you have a hole in the ground, it looks like this, which is a hole in the ground. That's me, that's buried down in the hole there. And over here, this is my son who's an architect now. This is my daughter who's a registered nurse now. And that's my nephew who has his own video business in the Detroit area, who is just killing it. He's doing great. And that's me when I had dark hair. Anyway, so that is a long time ago, and that was the neighborhood we had. So we dug a big hole, and at that point, we started to do some work right there. So we were doing this. I was actually on break from work right there. I was working as a CAD technician at that point. And so I stopped by during lunch, and we went ahead and saw what was going on there. So that's the next thing, the excavation, dig a big hole in the ground. What happens next? Well, the next thing you got to do is when you dig a hole, something happens to the hole, and that is you get water in the hole. Okay, now here, what you got are my two daughters. The one in the purple coat, that's Elizabeth. She's the nurse. She's a registered nurse. She has 4 kids. And it's my other daughter, that's Katie. And she has 3 kids, and they're both here in the Rochester area. So it's great to see them. And that's pretty cool here. Now, so this is November the 16th, 1992. So we're only 5 days past the last one. You're going to notice there are walls in the hole. So there's walls in the hole right there, and they are the type of which I spoke of, which is your pressure treated lumber, which actually is waterproof and keeps the water out. You're going to notice something else over here. You're going to see that there is this white tube right here. You got this white tube going right there. What that is right there is that's attached to a pump, because dewatering when you are working in an excavation type situation is critical. You got to keep the water out. So you got to keep on pumping it out to keep things dry. And that's part of what you got to do. So big part of this was just pumping it out to the street and keeping the water out of there. So that's what you have right there. Okay, next thing, how do you get the walls in? Well, what you do is to get the walls in there, you have this kind of a thing. Now, what you got here, this is actually at Bernie's house. This is a different location. You can probably notice by that. But what you got here is me. This is me as a young man 30 years ago. And we're carrying a wall. These things are incredibly heavy because they're 2x6 construction. And the next thing is they're pressure treated. I don't know if you've ever carried wood that's pressure treated, but it's a lot heavier than just regular wood. So you got that going on right there. So we were hauling this stuff and putting it into the hole in the ground. So we got that going on. So yeah, so at that point right there, all of us right now, we're all pretty creaky now, but back then we were pretty young and buff. And we went ahead and did that kind of a thing, but that was bringing it in, and we placed the walls into the hole, and then they would actually be squared with the transit scope that you see over here, which is all very basic stuff. This is all a tie-in to civil technology because this is all stuff that you do there as well. Okay, Bernie's house actually went in, I believe that went into the spring. So we were there in the spring, and we were doing that. Next thing is the wall placement. wall placement looks like this here, where you go into this right here. So you got this kind of thing where you actually are taking the different walls and placing them. Again, very heavy, but you place them in the ground. And then when you place them in the ground, you get them level, you get them straight up and down. You get them plumb, you get them level, you go ahead and do this. So as you place these right here, one of the things you got to do is you have to use a fastener that will not rot. Who has an idea as far as what kind of material we might have had to use in the fasteners?
It's galvanized.
Yeah, well, galvanized is actually the next best thing to what we used. We actually used stainless steel nails, stainless steel. Okay, so all the nails were stainless steel, and man, they were expensive. So you had a box of stainless steel nails. If you dropped one, you picked it up. Another thing about stainless steel is if you've never hammered in a stainless steel nail, when you hammer it in, what will happen is they are much more likely to bend because they're not hardened the way other nails are. So that's part of what you deal with there. So anyway, stainless steel nails, and they actually went in there, and so we use stainless steel nails to attach all these. That's a pricey endeavor, but overall it's a very cost-effective way of doing things. So then once you got that, you have the dewatering process. This is dewatering walls. We talked about dewatering walls, and in this case we're pumping the water back out here to a different part of the yard. I guess for some reason we didn't pump it in the street. I'm not really sure why, but we didn't, but that's what was going on there. This is Bernie right here. This was a cold day. This is December the 7th, 1992. So now you actually have your deck down. You have the deck right here. You have a floor down, and the walls are going up. So you have the walls that are in place. And essentially, this is what stud walls look like when you're making them. This is, if you're not too familiar with construction, that's what stud walls look like in profile. Okay, so you have the stud, you have the sheathing, and then you actually cut out the area for the windows. Typically how it works. This is my son, the architect, right now. He's in England right now with his wife. And this is a Bobcat. And over here is, my gosh, that was Dan, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. And that was his car. And the thing is, yeah, so kind of crazy. But anyway, that's my wife right there. And that's my daughter, Elizabeth. So you got that going on. So you got that happening. Now, next thing you do is you would actually do this. You would actually go ahead, and with this whole thing going up right here, you can see that it's going up, and you actually have the wood framing right here that you got going on here. It's going on a deck. So there's a floor down here, and now all this is going on top right here. So this floor is going on top of there, and this is how you'd actually put this all together. And so as you do this right here, you see there's a door sitting over here. That was actually going to be ultimately our garage door. Actually, yeah, it's our garage door right there. As the garage door went in, and right up here, there's a kitchen window over here. There's an open window right there to the deck. And then you have some other windows over here, which is all going in place right here. So you can see this is going in right now. And the beautiful thing about a permanent wood foundation is the same crew put in the walls in the basement, and then they began to build it and go straight up with it. So that's what happened right there. That's how that worked right there. And you also see right here, it's still being dewatered. Dewatering is still going on right here because you got to do that. We offer truss here and got wood and so forth. That's how that worked there. Next thing, we've got the superstructure, which is, another view of the same thing. We had another shot of that before, and we're taking a look at this right now. Same kind of picture, a little bit of difference right there. And you can see a little bit over the top there, and that's going together. And then what you got here is the built exterior frame. This is what it looked like after you got everything together. So you're seeing right now, it's what you would call a salt box colonial. That was the look we were going for. The original plan was actually to have a 12-12 roof pitch, which I don't know if anyone's really familiar with what that means. That's like a 45-degree angle. That's a very steep roof pitch. And after we had submitted the plans to the city, they said, you can't do that. But this is what we wanted. We actually want to have a big roof for the upstairs, to have room up in the attic that we could actually use and reclaim later. And we also had a 12-12 roof pitch over the garage, which meant we had another bedroom over the garage. And they nixed all that. So they said, you can't do that. And so I said, no. So I had to go back to the drawing. I had to redo the plans and kind of redo it. I had to keep the exterior the same, but I had to drop the roof pitch. So we lost a bedroom. That was no fun. So that's how that worked right here. You can see it's got windows right now. It's got basic long windows, which was the design that we wanted. Porch has been added on. That was Bernie's idea. And now it's basically built and closed. And what's the date? The date right there is January the 8th. So what you have is, having started pretty much in earnest in November, by January, you have this much built. Pretty crazy. So went in pretty quickly as far as that goes. So went in there, And you actually have a bunch of sheathing that's right there. That's pretty typical for the process there. Next thing, we have this right here, which is both stories. This is a view. Same, I think it was the same, might have been the same day. And if we have this right here, and you're looking at the garage right now, you're taking a look at the side right here, and you can see that you got the cable pulled through for the exterior porch lights, and you got all this other, you got these columns and so forth. So you got all this built up, and it's looking great. I got a little window up here, and these are all details that you will be very familiar with on the final project. On the inside, this is the master bedroom. This is actually something, this is the master bedroom right here. That's me with a lot of dark hair and a beard, and looking around here, and with dirty shoes. This is also January the 8th, and we're looking through here. And so this is how the house is built. And so it just kind of gives you a sense of like, okay, this is how this actually works. You have this framing right in here, and the framing all goes in here, and the framing allows you to then create the different windows and the closet space and so forth. This is actually the master closet right here, master bedroom closet. This right here is let's see, that'd be the linen closet right there, and then you got right here back over the side, you got a bathroom and so forth. So anyway, that's yeah. By the way, hi Max, I did see you came in, and so we got this going on. Next thing, you got what it looked like once we began to put on the exterior finishes. Well, here's a shot right here of this particular structure. This is January 29th. And what we did here is we actually had the roof is on, and we began to put in this face brick stuff. It's actually what they call brick veneer. And this brick veneer was 3/4 inch thick brick material. Okay. And it was the size of a standard brick. And it got pressed into this blue styrofoam, which had clips on it. So basically got put on there like that. And it actually got glued in place. It got glued in place, and then they got placed like that. And that's how that was put in. And so this all went in there. And so as you're putting this together, it actually looked like this, that you can see a little better angle right here of what this looked like. So all this went together right here. And up here, you have a soldier course, you know, as you go around down here. And that's how you go ahead and put that together. And all those gaps in there, how do you think they got filled? Well, I'll tell you. What you had to do is take a big keg decorator bag and fill it with grout, and then you had to go in and pipe inside all of that. And I did every joint on that house, mixing my own grout and doing that, and it was murder. It was really something. So that's what I did though. And I went ahead and did all that. So that's the work that we did. That is what we did and put that together there, and that's how that worked. So that is how that all worked. That's how the house went together. And just to finalize, when we're all done, it looked like that. And so it was a beautiful house. We sold it for a big profit when we left and moved to New York. And it was really a great project. I learned so much. I can't even tell you how much I learned. And maybe some of you will have the wonderful opportunity to create a house plan like I've got right there. Maybe you guys get a chance someday. I never thought I would, but I did, and it worked out really great. If you get an opportunity to do it, it was a risk, but I did it, and glad I did it. Okay, so moving from there over to what we're going to do now. So that is what it does look like when you're building something. So now let's kind of like move over into Revit. I showed you what the final steps were as far as like having this kind of a look like this right here. I saw this, you saw this, and you saw the different views that you can have of a bathroom and so forth. So I saw these things. So as we took a look at these, we saw there's a lot of different options you can have right there. So what is Revit? How do we actually get into using Revit? Well, I'm glad you asked, because that's what we're going to do right now. So I'm going to close all the tabs here, and what we're going to do is we're now going to move into talking about Revit, and we will do that. So Revit, what is Revit? Well, first of all, here is another house right here. This is actually a house that I have right here that is similar. It's actually got a basement plan on it and so forth. So it looks like this. If you take a look at this right here, you'll see that you got some pretty good detail on it. It's kind of a Dutch colonial type of house right here. You got that kind of a thing. You got a brick chimney over here, and it's so easy to manipulate and to go ahead and kind of like move around, take a look at it. You got stairs and so forth. Pretty cool. So it's called a building information model, and modeling is actually what we do right here. The proper term when you're working with Revit is modeling. You're not drawing anymore, you're modeling. So let me show you something else here. Over here, we've got another view. This is going to be, oh, by the way, this is this is that house that I just showed you. This is the house that we built right here, and that's what it looks like, you know, with this kind of a finish right here. So that's the kind of level of detail you can get with Revit right here, and that's what you can do here. So this is what we're going to be doing as a final project. That shows you what this looks like. And then you're able to do things such as this. Take a look at the first floor and you see this kind of thing. That's level 1. And then you'll see over here, you'll see level 2. And then you'd also have a basement plan right here. So these are all things you'd have. And then you'd have something like, you know, if we go down here, you would have the sheet list right here, the sheets. And I'm just going to go ahead and show you this. I've got my elevations. And the elevations are put together. They look like this right here. So you have these different items, and all this kind of comes together to create a full composite of the space right there. We also have a foundation plan, so it's all stuff. I converted this to be not a permanent wood foundation, but to be a concrete foundation. So we got that right there. So that's what we have right there. So let me just kind of pause for a second and just ask if there's any questions or comments so far. And it's okay if there's not. I just realized I'm just kind of throwing a lot of data at you. I want to make sure you guys have a chance to breathe. And if there's a question to ask it. Okay, nothing. Okay, so we'll continue on here. And what we're going to do right now is we are going to move over here and take a look at a Revit model. Yeah, we can go ahead and take a look at this one right here. So what I'm going to do is going back to here, this is what it looks like. Okay, so how would we build this? Okay, well, first of all, as you go to build this right now, you would go ahead and you'd start with your first floor, level 1. And so level 1 would be over here, is it? Yeah, over here. So here's your first floor plan. And this is actually the different walls and doors, and you got windows in here and so forth. So all this has been put in here. You got stairs, all this is put in here, and all of this is Revit stuff. This is not just CAD. There's an intelligence to any one of these objects. So if I were to click at any one of these objects, if I click here, it actually comes up right up here. I've actually got a little picture of it, toilet domestic. I've got that right there. That's in place right there. And then if I were to click on this right here, this is actually a door. It shows me this right up here. So all this stuff right here, as you take a look at it, they're all basically Revit elements that have intelligence to them. All these things are. Your door, even your walls have a certain system right here. So this is a basic wall right here. And when you make a wall in Revit, I just want to show you how this works right here. You actually have, basically it's constructed of different elements. So this one right here is a 6.5-inch thick wall. And you've got a 3/4 inch brick. You've got 3/4 inch insulation. I used 1 inch, I just used the number 1 inch for plywood sheathing, 3.5 inches for the stud, and 1/2 inch for the gypsum wall boards. That's what I've got right here. So these are all things that I put in here. And if I go to my preview, I can actually get a preview of what that actually looks like. So here's a shot of it. That's actually looking at it this way. And then I can also look at it in a section view. When I do this, this shows me what this would look like in a 3D kind of a format right there. So I have that right there. And if I actually want to take a look at it in 3D, I could actually, could I do that? I think I could. Yeah, might be able to, maybe not, I don't know. Okay, so I've got that there, and that's what we have there. Okay, so we've got that going on. And so as I went ahead and took a look at that, I saw that I was in this, and you got this kind of thing going on here. So what I could do here, can I do this? Let's see. All right, let's see if we can do this and change it to 3D. Maybe I can. No, I can't. Okay, so that's not going to work right there. So let's see here. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, so we got that right there. So that's your preview. So that shows the different elements that are part of this right here. So the reddish color on the outside is the brick. The styrofoam was the next level. You've got the sheathing, you've got the stud, and you've got the inside drywall. So that's how a wall is constructed. So when you create these walls, they actually go together. And what happens with Revit is they automatically connect them. Now, that gives you a basic introduction to this right now. So those are some of the basic elements about Revit right there. And showed you the basics right there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do kind of just a quick tour of Revit. Then I'm going to show you a couple things that we're going to work on right here. So I'm going to do some basic elements right here and show you how to work with that. So here's the first floor. So we draw, this is going to look like that. And you get an idea as far as what that's all going to look like. So I'm going to close out of that project, close out of that. And then I have another project. This is this one. This is the next project right here. And we've got that. So I'm going to close out of this project too. So I'm going to file, I'll close out of that. And then over here, I've got this custom garage project. This is going to be the actual, the second project that we work on right here. So the custom garage looks like this here. Custom garage looks like this. It's going to be a simple project. We're actually going to make a garage. So we're going to start real basic with basic walls, putting in doors and placing them correctly, knowing how Revit lets us do these things. and you also have some windows here. So after tonight, I'm actually going to give you guys some basics. I'm basically going to let you guys do a sandbox tonight or for next week. It's going to be a sandbox. It's going to be just a little quick and dirty little project, and you guys are going to work on that. And that's what you're going to have going on right there. So that's what you're going to have going on in this right here, and that's what we'll do. So this right here is this particular project, and we have that going on right there. And let's see what we got going on here. 1 second. Okay, all right, very good. Okay, very good. Okay, so we have this right now, and we're going to continue on. Okay, so over here, what we're going to do, this is what we're going to be building, one of the first projects. Before this, it's going to be really, really basic stuff. So again, I'm going to be starting like I do with everything. I'm going to be showing you guys the basic steps, and then we're going to get a little bit more complicated as we go through it. But I'm going to try to keep it simple. With Revit, one of the beautiful things about Revit is you can start very basic, and then you can move on from there. So when you enter, if I go ahead and just enter into a project right here, you know, this is the first floor plan right here. That's a first floor plan right there. So we're looking at this right now. And one of the things I want to show you is when you're looking at a plan in Revit, when you're looking at a plan like this, if you can zoom in using your mouse just like you do in AutoCAD. So you zoom in and you pan just like you would in AutoCAD using your mouse wheel. So go ahead and zoom in here. And if I go here, and if I click on this door right there, that's actually a double glass door right here. Over here is the actual item right here. This is a door double glass with 60-inch by 8-inch size. If I click this drop down here, if there's any other sizes here, I can actually put those in there. Now, in this particular case, it's the only one. So 60 inch is the only size right here. But if I go over here, I'm going to go ahead and grab this door here. If I click on this door, you'll notice this says half glass door. If I click this drop down here, I can see if there's any other sizes. It doesn't look like there are. It looks like there, maybe there are. I can go here. Yeah, I can actually make it slightly larger or smaller as I use these different types right here. I'll go there. Yeah, it's going to make it larger or smaller depending upon what I pick. And I'm just going to go ahead and use 36 by 80 because that's more consistent with the values that we have, US values. And then over here, we're going to go down here. There's a window. If I click on the window, I'll be able to click on that. And I have this 60 by 36-inch slider with trim. And I go ahead and let's say I change to 48. It's going to reduce it in size. Okay, so watch the window right here. I'm going to click on it, and boom, it changes. And then I go back, and I'm going to give it back to where it was, 60 by 36. So it actually takes it, and it automatically resizes it in the wall. And what happens right there is the wall actually heals and accepts that particular information. So you can actually go ahead and make that work. So we have that going on right there. Here you see a stairwell kind of peeking through. So you have that right there. So you can, like I'm doing right here, you're doing this kind of thing. You're panning and zooming, able to do this. Now, here's one thing I will show you. If I did want to place something, when you want to place something in Revit, you have walls, and walls act as a host element, meaning that they will contain windows and they will contain doors. So if I go up here and go to door, I've got these different doors up here. So I'm just going to select a different door. I'll just go ahead and select this. I'll just use this one. This is the same one, this door exterior, single glass half entry. Now watch this. You'll notice that right now my cursor is the universal not allowed symbol, but watch what happens when I put it here. When I put it here, it actually allows me to place it right there on the wall, and it lets me do this. If I take it off the wall, it doesn't. Now you can see it, and it gives you a preview of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click, I'm going to drop it right there. When I did you see what happened there? The actual project accepted that right there. So if I go here and if I go to 3D, now to go to 3D, by the way, up here, there's a little Monopoly house looking object. And if I click on that, that is actually will bring you into the default 3D. So watch what happens here. When I go to default 3D view, boom, it looks like this right here. And then to rotate around, I've got this cube, which you can use. Also, if you hold your shift key down, you hold the shift key down and then you hold, and then you drag with your mouse, you're able to do this. And there is the door I just put in. I just put that door right there. So I went ahead and did that. And if I want to put another door in, I could. So take a look at that. And I'm going to go back to here. I'm going to put another door just to show you how that works. So I'm going to go to door again. I'm going to place another door. Go ahead and place it right. I'll go ahead and place it right here. And then I'll go ahead and place another door right up here, just to kind of like do this. Now, once I've done that, I'll take a look at it in 3D and we'll see that, whoa, there's 3 doors in there. Okay, and it automatically takes place and it automatically lets you see this information, okay? So that is how Revit works. This is how you go ahead and start the basics with Revit. If you want to get rid of an object, I click on it right here. I'm just going to click my delete key. Boom, it's gone. Totally heals the wall. I click here, press my delete key, it's gone. I could also do it in this view right here. So if I go here and I click on here, I press my delete key and it is gone. So what's going on with here? Well, what's going on is it's like a 3D Lego model is what's going on right there. And so as you put objects in, it's going to be visible in the different views. So this is basically how it works inside Revit. Now, when you're working with Revit, you're going to see that there's a couple of things that are different that you don't typically see in AutoCAD. And what those are these right here. Okay, what you've got right here is you've got over here, you've got what's called your properties. Okay, your properties up here. There's also properties in AutoCAD, but it's not always up. When you're working with Revit, you always want to have your properties up. So you have that right there. The next thing is down here, you have your project browser, and your project browser is what lets you go from one view to another. And your views are like your floor plans, your ceiling plans, your elevations, your sections. This is how you'd actually go through these renderings if there are any. And down here are sheets, because when you're done with everything, you're going to put it on sheets. So if I double click on here, that's what my sheet looks like for this particular project. So I have my sheet right there. And so all this kind of comes together in one big project. And the whole goal of what we're doing here is going to be creating construction documents like you see here. And you guys will be making construction documents for the custom garage as well as for the Winthrop floor plan. So you guys will be doing that. Okay, so that's a kind of an introduction to work on this. So if I go back to level 1 right here, you basically can pan and zoom around like I'm doing this right now. And then something else I want to show you that's actually very interesting, which is this right here. When I zoom in here, there is down here a view control. Now the view control down here allows you to control different aspects of what you're seeing right now. Over here, this is the scale that actually controls your text. If I change it from 3/8 of an inch equals a foot, which is what it is now, and I change it to, let's say, 1/2 inch equals a foot, my text just got smaller. If I go back up here and if I make it 3 inches equals a foot, it gets even smaller. But when I go back to 3/8 of an inch equals a foot, it gets larger. So your text is going to be impacted by the scale. That's what the scale does. It's going to increase or decrease your dimensions and so forth. And then over here, I've got this, which is my detail level. Now watch my walls. I'm going to click here. I'm going to choose coarse. Watch what happens to my walls. Did you see that? I just lost a bunch of lines that were in the walls right there because the detail level is now coarse. If I change it to fine, you then see this wall information right there. We actually see the wall thicknesses and the wall layers that are in there. So that's one thing. Now over here, as I go through here, if I click on this right here, this actually gives me different colors as well. If I go to realistic here, it's going to give me some realistic coloring right here, which is typically more used for your 3D views, but that's how you actually have this right here. So you have that going on, and then you can click on this as well and go to consistent colors, it looks like that, or go to shaded, which looks like that, or the most common view for a floor plan is just hidden line, just leave it like that. So that's the basics right there, what that looks like. And these same views actually go ahead and work here too. If I go to 3D and go to here, I can go ahead and take this and rotate this around like we talked about before. And once I rotate that around, I can change the view down here by clicking here and changing this and making consistent colors like that, which looks like that. Or I can go up here and go to hidden line like that. Or I can go here and change it to a wireframe, which you see right through it, which is interesting, but a little bit spooky. And then I go down here, I'm going to just use realistic because that works pretty darn well for this right here. So you got that there. Okay, so these are things you got going on right here when you start working with Revit. So this is kind of a basic thing that you got going on here. So when you open a Revit project, you're able to actually select different views, okay? And that's how you actually do this, going over here. So I go to level 1, shows me level 1. If I go to level 2, shows me level 2. If I go to my elevations, it shows me my elevations one at a time. So we have all these things going on right here. So this is all stuff that you have going on. Another thing that goes on with when you're working with Revit is you have levels. Now levels actually are going to be the method by which AutoCAD tracks what particular floor you're on right now. So you'll have first floor, second floor, or level 1, level 2. And those are called levels. And they actually control the vertical distances in Revit. So they actually do that. And the templates I'm going to be giving you will be complete with those. So you won't really have to worry about that too much. So you have that going on, and that is what we have going on there. Let's see, so as we go through this, let me go ahead and open up one more thing here. I actually had a, oh, let's see here. I know I had something else up and running here. Let me see where that is. Not really. Don't see it. All right. No, I don't. Okay. Okay. So let me go ahead and grab that real quickly. Okay. Okay, so we got Autodesk Revit fundamentals for architecture. So you guys have been using Revit 2022. And what you got right here is introduction to BIM. And so here's the thing I want to talk about right now. When you are working in Revit, you're actually using BIM. Now, BIM works like this, where you actually have like a Lego model. Okay, I have right here a Lego model in my hand, and it kind of represents, let's say, represents a building. Well, at that point, you can actually look at it from a top-down view. This is a top-down view right here. And you also see that you can have elevations or something else. So a building information model means you can make a change in the model and then it will reflect in the views, which is kind of a big deal. Now over here, the way the workflow works, what we have been working with in CAD is typically to represent the model, you're going to have this right here. You're going to have plans, which are floor plans. And the floor, let's say it's the first floor plan, second floor plan, and basement plan. They go together to create a representation of the model. Also from there, you'll have sections and elevations, and all of these go together to go ahead and to create a representation of the model. You'll notice these arrows are all unidirectional. They go in one direction. Now that means that whenever you are working with the plans, they do not feed back and forth. Once you do something in AutoCAD, it goes there, and you actually then have to update the different views to make them work. That's why when we were working with our project, we had to draw a floor plan, and then after we did the floor plan, we had to do the elevations, and then after we did the elevations, we did the foundation plan. After the foundation plan, we did the wall section, and so forth. So that is what you'd actually do. When you have Revit, you build the model, and then you just look at it in different ways. You'll actually be able to see the plans in one view. You'll be able to see the elevations in a view, the schedules in a view, and the construction documents, which is what this represents, a stack of plans. That's your construction documents. And then you also have sections. All these come out of a central model, which is a very big deal. In Revit, you use families. Families are the primary thing. There are wall families, there are window families, there are door families, there are furniture families. All those are there. So we hear the family, the phrase family used quite a bit with Revit, and that allows you to basically understand the terminology. Essentially, think of it like categories. Instead of saying categories, though, they say families, and that's how that works right there. So you have that. We talked about construction documents that actually you're able to make sheets, and then once you've made a sheet, you're able to actually have that sheet that will actually give you title block information, and then you can drag the actual views onto it. Then the different elements of the screen. The home screen is the basic. Let me just kind of go over these. You have the home screen, the quick access toolbar, view tabs, options. Okay, so let me just kind of go over this. In Revit, you've got these kind of things here. So I've got these tabs right up here. Each of these tabs is a view. Okay, so these views start to come up right here. So if I click here, it gives me the south view. I click here, it gives me west. If I click over here, I get a first floor plan. And all these tabs can be up at one time. So that's one thing. These are all view tabs. The view tabs, you can actually go through them one at a time like this. And then what you do is you click on this one right here, which says level 1. If I want to close all the rest, there is this right here. This tool right here says close inactive views. And if I click on that, it closes everything except the view I'm in. And that's something you want to do every now and then, to close everything. That's a useful thing to be able to do. So we have this, and we have this particular view, and we're looking at it right now. And we have that going on. The next thing is you actually have over, when we first started Revit, when I didn't show you this, but when you first start Revit, you're going to see this. This is actually your start page. This is actually your home page in Revit right here. This is what you're looking at right here. And that right here is kind of shows the recent files or any kind of recent families or anything that we've had. And so we have that in place right there. And okay, so we're back to here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go over here, and we're going to take a look at over here. You've got the quick access toolbar. You got some tools up here, similar to what you have in AutoCAD, where you have open a file and save it and undo. Undo is operates just like it does in AutoCAD. You can print, you can actually get dimensions, you can measure, well, you can actually measure between two distances as well as put in dimensions. Okay, so you got this. If I go ahead and pick on 2 points, I'm going to click here and click over here and get a dimension like that. I'm able to go ahead and place that like I did there. And then along with that, this represents tags, windows and door tags. You can put in text. You can go ahead and take a look at different views right here, which is actually kind of cool. And here you can actually change whether thicknesses are shown, whether the line weight thickness are shown. So if I zoom into here, watch this. I'm going to go ahead and click on this. Now the walls have been thinned. If I click here, this thins the lines out or doesn't. It's called thin lines. And whether you use that or not is something that, you know, depends upon the particular project you're in, with the particular task. You may need to thin them out. It might be in your best interest to leave them open. So you've got that. In addition to that, you've got the ribbon. Like you do in AutoCAD, you got a ribbon here. And this is the architecture tab. And when you're working in AutoCAD, you'll have the architecture tab. You'll also have over here some other tabs, structures, structured steel we won't use, precast we won't use, systems we won't use, but insert, we might use that, and annotate for sure, we'll use that. Also use the view tab. So these are all things that we have going on right here. So these are different elements that we have that are in place. So these are all things that we have available to us as we're working in Revit. So we have those right there. Okay, in addition to that, what else do we have? Let's see here. Okay, so over here, we got the home screen, quick access toolbar, the view tabs. There's an options bar, there's a ribbon, file tab. Yep, and then we've also got the properties palette and the project browser. The view control, we saw that, and then there's a status bar. So there's a couple of other things we're going to get into as we begin to start commands. So we'll see that right there. So there's all these different elements that are there. And what I typically do at this point, we're at 6:50, which is typically when I give you guys a little break, because typically if we were actually at the school, you're supposed to get a 10-minute break right now to go from one class to another. So even though I know we're doing this remotely, I like to honor that because sometimes people need to put kids to bed or do something else or run to the restroom. So let's go ahead and take a little break right now. We'll come back and give yourself 7 minutes. We'll come back in 7 minutes and we'll continue. But we're off to a good start and we'll continue on that. If you have any questions, save those and we'll address those in a minute. So I will see you in about 7 minutes and I'm going to pause the recording and we'll come back in about 7 minutes. We are going to continue. So here we go. So what we're doing is we're talking about the overview of the interface of Revit and how it works. And it would be a whole lot easier when I typically teach this. What I typically do is I actually have my students all have my screen on one monitor and they have another monitor which they can actually interact themselves. And so it just makes life a whole lot easier. And you guys don't necessarily have the capacity to do that because you all have different machines. You may not have more than one monitor. If you do have two, then you can do that. If not, then that's just how that is. But in any case, let me do this and make sure you guys are all here. I think you are all here. And yes, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to continue. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to continue with the overview of the interface. So we have that. One thing about, we talked about the home screen, which looks like that. Next thing is the different Revit files. Project files are saved as an RVT, okay, .rvt, that's the file extension that's used there. Family files are RFA and templates are RTE. You'll be working with templates, okay, you'll be seeing those. You will be creating a new project tonight. You can do that. You definitely use templates. We saw how to pan and zoom using your mouse. We've got the 3D views. We've got that okay, then there's a thing called a camera view. And then you also have visual styles, which we saw also. And then we have open reviewing a project. We've been doing that, so that's good. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to hop out of this right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to begin to work with Revit. Okay, so we're going to do this right now. So I'm going to do, this is going to be kind of like the quick start guide, which I'm getting pretty good at after all this time. So I'm going to do the quick start guide right here. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Your first project for this week, if you guys have already looked, you'll know this. But what we're going to be doing here is you're going to be creating something called a Revit Sandbox a simple house freestyle. Now, this is going to be really straightforward, going to be easy. You can pretty much copy exactly what I create right here, but I'm going to have you complete a simple house with walls, a roof, a floor, at least 2 doors and 4 windows, and you're going to submit it as Revit Sandbox. Okay, Revit Sandbox. So I'm going to go through the basics right here as far as how to do this and how to do basic drawing in Revit. Again, this is a quick start guide. This is just to get used to moving your mouse around and kind of making Revit do what you want it to do. Okay, so for this one, there's really not going to be anything that's going to be right or wrong about it. It's going to be just a basic thing. And so this is just to get you guys into the habit of using it. So this is going to be a pretty easy week. I also know a lot of you might not have Revit installed yet, so I want to give you some time. This should not be a real tough thing. And like I said, you can just follow me step by step if you want to do this, which we'll do right now. Okay, so we're going to launch. So jumping into here right now, what we're going to do is we are going to go to Revit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to close out of everything. And I'm going to close out of here, close out of there. Do you want to save changes? No. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to close out of Revit entirely so you can see how the whole process goes. Now, what you'll do is once you have Revit installed, you'll see it as an icon or it'll be on your desktop. It looks like this. It's a blue R. So when you click on Revit, you'll go ahead and do this. And this is what you're going to be doing for this week. This is just to understand how Revit works. Okay. And I'm going to basically give you a step-by-step walk through right here so you guys can understand this. So it's coming in right now, and Revit is a very elegant project, or rather a product, I should say. I've got Enscape, which is something I'll show you guys later. I might be able to get the guy to give us a overview. Last semester, I actually had the guy, who's actually like a consultant, actually come in and talk about it. Okay, this is what you're going to do. To create this project, you're going to go over here to where it says new. Okay, we're going to create a new model. So we're going to go here and click on new. By the way, can you guys see the red highlighter on my cursor? Okay, can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to click on new. And when I click on new, the default, now pay attention here. Pay attention to this right here. Your new project right here, it says template file, and down here the default is Imperial Construction. You don't want to use Imperial Construction because it's not going to look like what I'm going to do right here. I'm going to use Imperial Architectural. Again, I'm going to use Imperial Architectural. So I'm going to click on Imperial Architectural, and then I'm going to go ahead and click on OK, and it's going to start and look like this. So what you start with is a top-down view of an area right here. There's nothing in it. We have not drawn anything. There's nothing yet. Okay, so this is what we do right now. We are in, right now, by default, we are in level 1. You're in level 1 right now. Notice that. So you always want to be taking inventory of what's happening. So you're on level 1 right now. We haven't drawn anything yet. To create walls, okay, which is the most basic thing you can do in Revit, you go over here and you click on the wall tool. So click on wall, just right up here. And when you do that, you're going to notice that you got basic wall generic 8 inches. Now there are other walls in here. You can go down here and take a look at other walls right here. And you can actually see these. And you could use generic 4-inch brick. That actually gives a kind of a nice look right there. So why don't we do that? We'll just use generic 4-inch brick. Why not? Let's trip the light fantastic. This will kind of like give us more to see here. So we'll choose generic 4-inch brick, which is right here. We click the drop down and we can choose that. So that's going to be exactly that. Now, here's the next thing. When you start to draw, a few things start to pop up and start to happen here. Let me show what's going on here. So first of all, what's going on is you'll see this right up here. Well, what's that? Well, this popped up right here. This is actually your draw menu. And you have the option of using these different tools here. This is the line tool, which will allow you to create straight walls. That's the most commonly used tool for walls. The next one over is rectangle. Let's just go ahead and create a rectangle. Okay, so we go ahead and use that and create walls using the rectangle command. The next one over here is polygon. You can go ahead and create a polygon, or you can create a circumscribed polygon. Okay, different choices for that. All right, so you got those right there, circumscribed polygon. And when you hold your cursor over this, it throws some help up, which is nice. You can make circular walls, which is kind of cool here. You got that right there. And then you got arc walls right here, start and radius arc. And I'm holding the cursor literally on here so you guys can see the little videos, because videos show up too. If you hold it long enough, some of these have videos. So if you do this, it shows you how to go ahead and make videos and make that work. So we have that right there. And then we have this right here, which is a tangent end arc, shows you how the tangent end arc works. And because all these are available to us, so we have like this, and you're able to do that. Okay, and then we have the next one over here, which is fillet. You got a fillet arc, which allows you to do things a little bit differently, but all of these tools are going to be available to you to go ahead and make this work. So it shows you how each one of these behaves as you work on that. And then I'm going to go here. You got Ellipse right here, another video right here. This is this is not the kind of thing you have to do every day, but if you need to make an ellipse, you can, and this is how you do it. You create an ellipse and you pull it out and go ahead and create that. And that's how you go ahead and make an ellipse. Over here, you've actually got a partial ellipse. If you only want to do half an ellipse, you've got that. And this is how you go ahead and add a different portion, like it's like an elliptical arc type thing. So we're able to do that. And each one of these kind of gives you an idea. And then you got picking lines. This allows you to pick on existing wall lines, which we'll see why we do this, but we have that. So these are all different tools. Okay, so that's the first thing. Okay, so if you want to draw straight lines, this for this one, I'll show you how to do both. I'll go ahead and scratch some lines out with the line command, then I'll show you how to do it with the rectangle. Now, here's the next thing. Down here are your options. Now, under your options, you actually have a number of things. First of all, you have the ability to control its vertical properties, how high it is. Now, right now, by default, it says height is unconnected, meaning it's not going to stop at the second floor and it's 20 feet tall. I want to change that right now. And I can change it actually down here or up here. So if I go here, I change the height. I'm just going to say I want to go to level 2. So I click on level 2, and you'll notice it says height is now says level 2. It also says it down here. Level 1 is the base constraint. And when it says base constraint, that's just a fancy way of saying what's the bottom of the wall. The bottom of the wall is level 1. And top constraint is level 2. The unconnected height is 10 feet, so we have that. Okay, so we're good to go there. Now, the next thing you have right here is your wall center line is your location line right now. You could also choose a different one. The wall center line means the exact center of the wall as you draw it. So if it's a 12-inch thick wall, it'll just go ahead and grab the actual center of the wall. You have the core center line. The core center line actually goes to the center of the core element. So if it's a stud, it goes to the center of the stud. If it's a concrete masonry unit, you go ahead and you would use that. It would go to the center of the concrete masonry unit, and so on. You could also go finish face exterior. If you wanted to go to the actual outside of the building, you could do that. And these all allow you different choices for how you're going to draw that. We're going to use wall center line. We'll use that. So I've got this right here. And so we got the basic things in place right here. So these are all in place. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you first of all how to do this. So the line command is up here. So I'm just going to click and drag my cursor. Now, when I click and drag my cursor, see, I can actually drag it in different directions. And by default, it's going to draw in a straight line. I'm pulling this back and forth like this right now. And I can go ahead and stop anywhere I want to, or I could type in the distance. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go pull it over here, and I'm going to type in 25 feet. So we'll do that. Then I can pull it down in this direction, and I'm going to type in 25 feet again. And it gives me that. Now, notice I don't have to type in the foot symbol, because in Revit, the default is going to be feet. Okay. In America, it is feet. In the US, so you have that. So over here, I'm going to type in 25 feet again, and then I have to bring it down here to the end. I'm going to close it. We'll go ahead and do that, and we just complete it. So I'm going to zoom into that and see what it looks like. So first of all, I'm saying, okay, yep, there's some brick going on here. So let me click this drop down here and just see if I get any more detail here. If I click on that, and I'll go to find. I'm going to go to find. I don't get any more detail because there's not much else going on. It's just a plain brick wall right there. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm then going to change this. So I'm going to see it in 3D. So this is where you begin to really evaluate what you've done so far. So up here, this is the tool. This is the default 3D view. So I'm going to go to here, and I'm going to click on this little Monopoly house. When you click on this, watch what happens. Boom, I've got that right there. You don't have to say boom, but you can if you want. And then you got over here, you got your level 1 and your level 2, so you have that going on right there. And then over here, you've actually got a view cube. That's actually helpful if you want to look at this different ways. But take a look at that. And as you zoom into it, you'll see that there is a brick pattern on there, which is kind of cool. Now down here, if you click on this drop down, we're presently on hidden line. If I go to shaded, it looks like that. It gives me a nice shaded look there. If I click on this again, I can go to consistent colors, which gives me that. Removes the shading. But so sometimes this is the best view because it's the most direct. And then if I go down here, I can change it one more time and use realistic. Now, when you use realistic, it actually takes a second to crunch and actually gives you this brick appearance right there. Kind of cool. All right, so you got that right there. So what have I got? I now have a brick foundation wall, looks like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to level 1. I want to see from the top down. So just want to verify what I'm looking at here. Oh, before I leave this view though, if I want to rotate in this view, I hold down my shift key, then I hold down my wheel. And I can then take it and I can just go ahead and take it and rotate it like I am right now. So you hold down your shift key, then you hold down the wheel and you drag it. And that's so you can actually rotate these different views like I just did there. Now the view cube, interestingly enough, if I go ahead and do this, if I click on, for instance, this right here, right, it's going to rotate it like that. It's going to give you a direct orthographic view. And then these arrows let me spin it around. So I actually spin it around like I'm doing right here. Kind of cool. And I can actually see it from all different directions. And zooming into this just to do this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the upper corner right here. And when I do that, it does that. So it goes ahead and returns it back to the kind of view that I want it to be in. So we got that and we are good to go there. So that's what we have right there. And that's what that looks like. And we are good to go, I think. Let's see here. Let's go back to views here. Okay, no, we're good to go. That's fine right there. So we're good to go. Okay, so we got that. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to level 1. Now, what I'd said is I was going to show you guys how to do this also with a rectangle tool, just to show you how it works. So I'm going to erase all this. So to erase it, if I want to select it, I can just click my, whoop, I'm still in the command right now. That's one of the cardinal rules in Revit, okay? I'm still in the line command right here, rather in the wall command. I never got out of it. So hit my escape key. And whenever you see this green background right here, the green background means you're presently editing. I'm in modify place wall. So to get out of that, you can do it one of two ways. You can either press your escape key or click on this modify button with the arrow right here. When you click on the modify button, it drops you out. You no longer see that mint green background. Okay. Now to select all this right here, I'm just going to click here and click and drag my cursor over this. And when I click, I'm clicking and holding down and dragging across. Everything's selected. To delete it, I can just click on this delete right here, which is my red X, or I can press my delete key. They both do the same thing. So I just deleted all that. And it's just like, wow, okay, well, that was pretty anticlimactic, Tom. Well, I'm going to draw it again. So this time I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go to my wall again. And when I start my wall again, I'm going to change it from being a line to being I'll just show you how to make a circle. So you click on circle right here. I can go here and click here and I can pull it out like this. And let's go ahead and make out let's be consistent. We'll make a 25-foot circle right there. Can we do that? Okay, I got that. So let's take a look at it and see what it looks like in 3D. And what I got there is I got a circular wall right there. Okay. All right, like that. Okay, so that's probably not going to happen too often. So I'm just going to undo that. And what I'm going to do instead of that, I'm going to go to wall and I'm going to go here. I'm going to use rectangle. So I'm going to click on rectangle. Now watch this. I click on rectangle and I'm just going to randomly pick 2 points. I'm not even going to look. I'm closing my eyes and I'm picking 2 points. 1, 2. Ooh, okay. That's pretty random. Then I'm going to hit my escape key to get out of the mint green right there. And now what I've got is this right here. Now, if I want to have it to be a specific size, I want it to be 25 feet by 25 feet, but it's not. So I'm going to fix that. So I'm going to click on this left wall over there. And you'll notice that this comes up here. This is called a temporary dimension. The temporary dimensions are blue, and they allow you to edit this basically by just clicking on this value right here and typing what you want. So if I want it to be 25 feet, I just type in 25 and press enter, and boom, that's now 25 feet. All right. And now over here, what I want to do is I want to go ahead and click on this right here. When I click on that, I want this to be 25 feet. So click on that. I'll type in 25 again, and it does that. Now at this point, I kind of drew it in the wrong spot, which is what I really didn't want to do. And I don't want to get into doing all the moving and so forth, because when I guess I have to. So I'll go ahead and I'll just select all this. So I'll grab all this and select it and then use the move command. This is how it works. It works just like AutoCAD. I have this selected and then I'll go to the move command. So I'll click on move. I'll click on the edge of the object. Let's go ahead and move it over here. And I'll go ahead and I will not constrain it. Go ahead and pull it right up here. I'm just going to put it right in the center of my project right there. So I went ahead and moved that. So you won't have that problem because you won't have your eyes closed when you draw that. Okay, now let me take a look at this, take a look at it in 3D. And what we have here is pretty much what we had before, pretty much the same thing. And so we have that right there, and that's what we have. Okay, so we got the front view, the right view, and so forth. So we got that. Back to level 1. So once I've drawn that, what I would be able to do then is I could then put on a floor, and I could also put on a roof. I could also put in doors and windows. Let me show you how to put doors and windows. And this is pretty straightforward here. Now, once you've drawn this, you might get errors. Like if you stay inside Revit, and let's say I'm still in the wall command right here, and I do this. I start to draw walls on top of walls right here. You're going to see this. And what that is that's the famous, frustrating Revit warning. Highlighted walls overlap, because you can put a line on top of a line in AutoCAD, but you can't put a wall on top of a wall in Revit, because that just won't work. So it says highlighted walls overlap. One of them may be ignored when Revit finds room boundaries. Use cut geometry to embed one wall into the other. So in other words, this is a bad thing. Okay, so now I'm going to hit this red X to dismiss that, but I still have the problem right there. I don't want to put in the walls right there. So I'm going to click on that and hit delete. And it just got rid of that wall. Okay, I just went through there. I just clicked on and I deleted it, so that's gone now, because that's not a good thing. So if you see that, stop what you're doing, read the error, and do your best to understand it. If you're not sure, just undo a step or two to get back to where you didn't have the error. But anyway, once you've completed this, it's going to look like that. That's what you're going to look like. So that's level 1. Now, to put in doors, it's a pretty straightforward process. You got doors right here. So our goal here is going to be to put in a door on 2 sides. So I'm going to go door, and you guys don't have to do exactly what I'm doing here. I'm just going to let you guys kind of like work with it. So notice that right here, you have the universal not allowed symbol. I'm just going to go ahead and go to place one right here at the front. Going to place one. Now notice here that my dimensions right here try to give me a center type thing. So right there is 12 foot 6, 12 foot 6. Well, that means it's right in the middle. So I click on that. I'll do the same thing just with this one, 12 foot 6, 12 foot 6, and do that. Now, one of the things about this that you're going to notice is it dropped in these door tags. That's normal procedure. And then if I click on this door right here, you'll notice that these grips show up. When these grips show up, that means I can then use this to flip the door swing one way or the other, right-hand swinger, left-hand swing like that. And I can also click this one to swing the door in or swing the door out. Okay, swing the door in and swing the door out. We'll go ahead and let the door swing in. That tends to be not uncommon for a front door. So go ahead and swing that in. And then this door right here, we'll leave that the same way, and we'll do that. Okay, so we have this. Now let's take a look at 3D, see what we got. Go to 3D, and you have a door in the front, you have a door in the rear. I know it's plain, that's okay. We're just learning how to work with Revit and see how it works. So you have that right there. So you have the doors in place right there. Pretty cool. So we went ahead and did that. Now the next thing that we're supposed to do, and again, just to review what our project is here, complete a simple house with walls, done. A roof, not done. A floor, not done. At least 2 doors, done. And 4 windows. So I'm going to put in my windows now. So over here, I'm going to go to window. I'm just going to use the default, whatever comes up I'm going to use, and that's all I expect you guys to do. So I'm going to window here, and I got this fixed 36 by 48 inch window. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to place this in the middle right there. If I can do it, 12 foot 6 by 12 foot 6. And do the same thing here, 12 foot 6 by 12 foot 6. Then I'm going to go ahead and what the heck, I'll do this 6 foot 3. And I'm going to just go ahead and center all these. And I'll go ahead and I'll just go above and beyond. I'll actually put in a couple more here. So 6 foot 3, 6 foot 3, I got that. Okay, now once I've done that, I now have that all in place right there. Let's take a look at it again. I go to 3D, and it looks like that. Ooh, looking like something now, isn't it? Now this is where you could actually go into the realistic view if you want to just kind of like push a little bit and see what it's looking like right there. And now you're seeing like, okay, that's pretty cool, pretty simple. And again, usually consistent colors is the best one for doing this. So now we got this right here. So now that we got that, I can take it and I can rotate it around like this, kind of move around like this, looks good. And then what I want to do is I'm going to go back to level 1. And what I want to put in now, a floor. So to put in a floor, floors thankfully are very easy. I'm going to go up to the architecture tab here, click on that. And then you notice I got wall, I've got door, I've got window, and over here I have floor. So I'm going to floor right here, and I'm going to choose floor architectural. All right. Now, what's the type of floor? Well, this is floor generic 12 inches. Now, a good tool for creating a floor in this type of situation would be, I could pick walls, I could do that, or I could just make a rectangle. Okay, I could do either one will work. And what I'm going to do for this one right here, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to use this rectangle. So I'm going to click on rectangle. I'm going to pick the upper left corner. Oh, now here, this is actually, how's this drawing right here? I guess we're okay. So I think we're good. It's not giving me any, No, it's not. So let's go and pick this upper left corner. I'm going to pick this lower. Now notice when I do this, let me do this in slow motion. I'm going to close out of there. So I'm going to go to floor. I'm going to use floor architectural. Now, what I want to do right here is I want to go ahead and draw this, and I want to draw a floor rather a floor that's 12 inches all the way around. So I want to do this, and so I could pick on the walls, or I could use rectangle. I'm going to use rectangle. So now when I do this, watch what happens when I touch this upper left corner. I click there and I pull it down, and you get this magenta boundary. This is something you will see when you're making floors. This is something you'll see when you're making roofs and ceilings. You'll see it for all these. So I'm going to pull it down and pick this lower right corner, and you notice it's snapping. Revit does that automatically. It automatically will snap like that. So click there. And then when I got that done, I'm going to get done making a boundary. We're going to click on the green check mark here and click the green check mark. And it does that. It actually gives me this kind of a look right there. It turns it periwinkle. And then go to my 3D view and see what I got here. And you can see right here, I got a slab now. I got a 12-inch thick slab right here. Pretty cool. I'm going to rotate this around. I have that. So those are the basics right there. So I go ahead and go through these steps right here, and that's what it looks like. And that's what it looks like. So kind of cool so far. I look underneath, it looks like that. Okay. So now I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to put on a simple roof, and I mean it's going to be simple. And we can, it's not going to be too simple. I'm going to do one little tweak to it. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go ahead and use roof. Now I got roof right here. I'm going to use roof by footprint. Okay, so roof by footprint means I'm actually going to draw another magenta line around here. So for this one, it gives me this notice, and it says, you've created the roof on the lowest level. Would you like to move it to level 2? Well, the answer is yes, because it actually needs to be up there. Typically, you're going to say yes when I ask you this. So you click on yes. Now, at this point, you'll notice that pick walls is on. I'm going to use this for this one right now. We use this to pick my walls. And over here, you'll notice that define slope is there. That means it's not going to be a flat roof. Now over here, you got overhang. And I'm going to change the overhang to be 1 for 1 foot. Okay, now when I do this, watch what happens. I'm going to touch this outside wall, and you'll see you want the actual dashed line to go outside of the house. So you click there, and you get your first magenta line. We'll click here, we'll get our next one. We'll click here, we'll get our next one. And we'll click over here, we'll get our last. And it gives you a magenta pylon all the way around. If we like it, we'll go ahead and go here and say, click the green check mark, and boom, it just put a roof on. Well, let's see how it looks. I'll go to 3D, and hey, looky there. Okay, so I've got a roof on there. Now that roof is what's called a hip roof. That means all of the particular elements that you see right there are actually sloped. Okay, now that's not typically the way houses are built. That's typically not the way. So we're going to fix that. And so to do this, right over here, level 1 is this right here. That's what that looks like. But level 2, if you go to floor plans level 2, you're going to see the outline of the roof right there. That's what that is. It's the outline of the roof. So we're going to go ahead and click on this. And when you click on that, it highlights in blue. Actually, I call it periwinkle, but anyway, we're going to go up here and go to edit footprint. You go to edit footprint like this, and then you have the ability to change the roof a little bit and to change the slope. So what I'm going to do right here is I am going to do this. I am going to click on this front line right here. And I'm going to go ahead, and it says 9'12" right there. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go up here and uncheck define slope. So I uncheck define slope, and that 9 by 12 notation goes away, and so does the slope marker. I'm going to do the same thing with the rear. So go to the rear right here. I'm going to uncheck define slope like that. And once I've done that, I'm then going to hit the green check mark. And now my roof has changed, okay? And the reason why is there's a cut line right there. It's actually going through the roof. So I'm only seeing part of it. So now I'm going to go to 3D. I'm going to click here. And I'm going to stop right there and take a look at that. It looks pretty good, huh? Now that is what we have right there. And what I'm going to do is this roof is a little too plain Jane. So I'm going to click on that roof, and I'm going to change it. Instead of being basic roof generic, I'm going to go down here. I'm going to call it wood rafter asphalt shingle insulated, which is this one right here. So I'll click on there, and it's going to give me this. And if I put it into realistic, you'll see it looks like this. And you have that look right there, which actually gives you kind of a shingle look right here. Now, there's a problem. The problem is this wall does not connect to the roof, okay? So to connect those, I actually need to do this for each one of these. So I'll click on this wall right here. When I do that, you notice that a grip appears and so forth. But when you click on a wall and there's a roof in place, something else happens, which is you have this choice of attach to the top. So what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to click on attach top, and I'm going to click on the roof. And it goes ahead and runs that right up to there. I'm going to click on this wall too, because that has to be attached to. I'm going to attach to the roof. I'll do that. And you can't see it necessarily, but that's one thing you have to do. Then I'm going to rotate it around, click on this one, attach this to the top like that. Then I'll rotate it around again, click on this wall, do the same thing, attach to the roof. Okay, now when I've got that, look at what I got right here. I've got a house right here. Very simple, very basic, but it has all the basic elements that I would use to go ahead and to create a structure right there. Of course, it's not really something we would build. You wouldn't just have a brick wall, but you know, hey, if that's all you had, you would. And that's what you got going on there. So that is how you would go ahead and build a structure like this. So let me stop right here and ask if there's any questions right here, or was that pretty clear? And you think the video will get you through that? Any questions? Okay, then what I'm going to do right here is, as I always do, I realize some of you still have to install Revit. I get that. And so what we're going to do right now is I'm going to stop the video. I'm going to stop the movie here. It's going to go here, and I'm going to stop